The Raleigh-Durham area of North Carolina keeps showing up on every top 10 list. #1 best place to live, #1 state for business, #1 city for working women, the #2 southern city on the rise, and the list goes on and on, which you can find in the description below. So with all that good, why wouldn't someone want to move to the Triangle? Well, let's break down the top reasons the Raleigh-Durham area of North Carolina might not be right for you. My name is Matt Martin, and I'm a realtor in the Raleigh area of North Carolina. I've helped tons of clients move to the Triangle region, and if you're looking to do the same, I'd love to help you too. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below. When I sat down to make this list of top reasons someone may not want to move to the area, I have to admit it was a little hard to get a list together. But the first 3 came pretty easily, and they all revolve around the weather. So many people talk about the weather as a reason to move to the Triangle region, but it's not for everyone. So let's start with #1 on the list, our summer. There's no denying that Raleigh has a hot and humid summer, with 3 months, June, July, and August, all averaging above 85 degrees. On average, the Raleigh-Durham area has about 40 to 45 days a year over 90 degrees, but that number varies wildly from year to year. What is pretty reliable though is the rarity of triple-digit days, with an average of just 1 per year in the last 10 years. So if you're moving from a place like Phoenix or Austin, where you can get anywhere from 50 to 100 or more triple-digit days a year, our summers will feel much more mild. But if you're moving from Southern California, you're in for a surprise with the mix of both heat and humidity. But there are plenty of ways to keep cool. We're only a 2-hour drive to the nearest beaches, and we're super close to multiple lakes like Jordan Lake and Lake Johnson, which are about 15 to 20 minutes from downtown Raleigh, and Lake Gaston, which is about an hour to the north. And the mountains are only a 3-hour drive to the west, where temperatures average about 10 to 15 degrees cooler during the summer. Okay, on to #2, and we're keeping with the weather theme here. Let's talk about snow. If you love your winters, and especially if you love snow, the Triangle may not be the place for you. Yes, we have a proper winter with average lows in the 30s from December to February, but then our average highs are in the 50s for those same months. And March brings those highs into the 60s and lows into the 40s. So there really isn't much opportunity for snow in the region, and we only average about 4 inches per year. That means that there are some years where we get absolutely no snow at all, while others may have 1 or 2 storms with any accumulation. But again, we're only 3 hours away from the beautiful Appalachian Mountains, so if you want to get your snow fix in, you can always take a weekend trip up there. We moved here from New York City, and our dog Boomer absolutely loves the snow, so we try to take at least 1 trip to the mountains every year. Of course, if snow isn't your thing, but you still want a true 4 seasons, then the Triangle may be just the place for you. You definitely won't need a snow shovel here. All right, #3, and the last of the weather-related cons, pollen. The Triangle is known for its lush green landscape, and Raleigh's nicknamed the City of Oaks for a reason, but it's really the state tree, the pine tree, that wreaks the most havoc during the springtime, when the city is engulfed in a literal yellow cloud of pine pollen for about 3 weeks, usually in late March to mid-April. It truly is the most bizarre thing to see for someone who grew up elsewhere. Your car, deck, driveway, sidewalk, porch, patio, roof, everything will be covered in a not so thin layer of yellow dust that's pretty pointless to even wash off, as it'll just reappear in minutes. So if you have severe pine pollen allergies, this may not be the right place for you. But let me tell you, the pollen gives way to the most beautiful spring and summer as all the wildflowers and trees begin to bloom. So if you're able to power through the pollen season by loading up on allergy meds or taking an annual vacation every April, you'll come out on the other side to gorgeous magnolias, hydrangeas, crepe myrtles, dogwoods, and so much more in all their full bloom grandeur. Okay, we've made it through the weather, so let's get to a silly one, but one that definitely was an adjustment for me when I moved here: alcohol sales. Well, I'm sure most people aren't making decisions about where to move based on how alcohol is sold in that state. It's something that may make you scratch your head when you get here, since North Carolina has some of the strictest alcohol sales laws in the country. Here, liquor can only be sold in state-run stores known as ABCs. Yes, you can get beer, wine, and seltzers in the grocery store, but the hard stuff is reserved for the ABCs, and you probably won't be surprised to hear that they're closed on Sundays. There is a big push in the state Congress right now to get that Sunday rule lifted, but it hasn't become law yet. And another part of that legislative push would undo the state's ban on happy hours, which is a huge surprise to many people moving here. Somewhat surprisingly though, given those strict laws, Raleigh-Durham and Cary have all recently passed social districts where people can stroll with open containers purchased at participating venues, which is definitely not something you find in many other cities around the country. All right, next up is a biggie, and that's the lack of public transportation. Yes, we have a pretty expansive bus system, but I don't think I know anyone who uses it to be able to comment on its reliability, ease of use, or convenience. Outside of the bus, we have Amtrak, which runs about 4 to 5 times a day between Raleigh, Cary, and Durham, but there are no other public transit options. For decades, residents have been teased with a proposed light rail that would, at a bare minimum, run between Raleigh, the Research Triangle Park, and Durham, but the plans have been repeatedly thwarted due to lack of funding. While it's definitely welcome that billions of dollars are being invested into the expansion of our highways and freeways, a consistent and reliable railway would create so many new opportunities for residents to easily explore the other areas of the triangle without being tied to our cars. And speaking of relying on cars, the next item on the list is traffic. Now, I grew up in Los Angeles and moved here from New York City, so I laugh when people say that Raleigh-Durham has bad traffic, but it's all relative. Many natives would probably say that the increase in traffic is their number one on this list of cons, so it's something I at least wanted to touch on. And with no major public transportation plans in the works, other than a bus rapid transit plan that's underway, and about 80 people moving to the region every day, our roads will only be able to handle so much before traffic does become a real concern. Next up is a pretty universal issue nationwide, and that's the hyper-competitive housing market. While inventory is low around the country, Raleigh-Durham is in a unique position where immigration so heavily outweighs emigration. Remember all those accolades I named at the top of this video? Well, they make it so that no one wants to leave the triangle, so our new listings are at a 10-year low. In fact, year-to-date 2023 is down 15% from the 10-year average. All the while, as I just mentioned, the region has about 80 people moving here a day, so a steady increase in demand paired with a steady decrease in listings means even more competition for homes. Yes, a lot of the listing slowdown has to do with the recent rise in interest rates that have sellers not wanting to walk away from their current mortgage rates, but it's also because so many people love living here that they just don't want to leave. That said, I work almost exclusively with buyers, and with the right strategy, tenacity, and some patience, we always prevail. So don't let the competitive market scare you away. All right, the final con on this list isn't a big deal to me at all, but it may be to some of y'all. Major league sports, or the lack thereof. We do have one major league team, the NHL's Carolina Hurricanes, who just signed a major 20-year expansion on their lease with PNC Arena, which will also bring with it a major renovation of the arena and expansive development of the surrounding area, including restaurants, bars, hotels, and a separate music venue. But if you're looking for Major League Football or basketball, you'll have to drive about 2.5 hours west to Charlotte. Or you can get on an early morning Amtrak to make it just in time for the tailgate party to begin. That said, the Triangle does have a ton of options for wild sporting events, most notably spawning from the 3 major universities in the area: Duke with the Blue Devils, NC State with the Wolfpack, and UNC Chapel Hill with the Tar Heels. Then we also have baseball's minor league Durham Bulls, who play at Durham Bulls Athletic Park in downtown Durham. So there are plenty of opportunities for live sporting events and fierce rivalries, even without the major league designations. So that's my top 8 list of reasons why the Triangle may not be right for you. But let's be honest, the fact that I couldn't even make a full top 10 should be pretty telling. Yes, There are some downsides to living here, as there would be to any city, but there's a reason we keep making so many top 10 lists and that so many people are moving here every day. If there are any cons I missed, leave me a comment down below, or if there are any things you particularly love about living in the Triangle, let me know too. It's always nice to bring some positivity to the comment section. And if you're ready to make the move to the Raleigh-Durham area, I'd love to chat. All my contact information is included below.